It's Wednesday, time for another Action Figure Adventures video here on SEO Toy Review. Today, Baby Skeletor and I are taking a look at the giant Man-at-Arms figure from Matty Collector. It's a faithful recreation of the vintage figure, just in jumbo size. He looks awesome. I love the greeny unitard that he wears underneath his orange armor. Let's get ready to take a closer look at this figure. Baby Skeletor has been waiting to take a look at giant Man-at-Arms for quite a while now. So this is a fairly faithful recreation of the vintage Man-at-Arms figure, just scaled up to 12 inches tall. You can see just by looking at it right now, they're not exact. The shade of green is much darker on this jumbo figure than the original. The details on the face seem a little bit softer. The armor, I'd have to look real carefully. That looks fairly faithful though. These are not directly scaled up from the original molds or 3D scanned the way some of the other companies are making jumbo figures. These figures are sort of sculpted to represent that figure in a jumbo size, but I'm pretty sure it's all new sculpting to try and look as much like the vintage as possible. Well, here's Man-at-Arms on his side, just to kind of give you a better look at his card back there. It pretty much looks like the vintage figure. It says that he has the Power Punch feature, Man-at-Arms, Heroic Master of Weapons, Adult Collector. The back of the package shows off many of the other characters released in the original run of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. We have gotten giant figures of He-Man, Stratos, Zodak, Man-at-Arms, Beastman, and Skeletor. So that leaves Teela and Merman that are shown on here that have never been released as giants. Not saying they won't get released, but I'm not sure how likely they are to release more giants. The detailing on giant Man-at-Arms armor is pretty accurate to that of the vintage figure on close inspection. The detail is a little bit more crisp in certain places, and you can also see that they redid the little catch pieces. So for instance, each one of the armor pieces has these little ridges on it here to kind of connect it, to lock it in there. And it's not really like that on the vintage one. There's only a single tab on the vintage figure right here. There's only a single tab on the vintage figure. With the larger and crisper details, it's even funnier to see Man-at-Arms' hair there unpainted or painted the same color as his helmet. But that is accurate to the vintage figure. The detailing was just a little bit less noticeable. The Jumbo Man-at-Arms is a pretty solid plastic. He does feel kind of hollow, but his armor is very rubbery, which is a little bit surprising just because the old-fashioned armor was so rigid, but I'm sure this made this easier to bend the straps around to put it on him. His weapon is actually very stiff, which is nice. Glad they didn't use the same material for this and the armor. And then of course he has that vintage Power Punch feature. To assist in making these figures stand, they do still have the rubber bands inside their legs, but little notches were sculpted on that help kind of lock them in that standing position so they don't fall over as easy as the vintage figures did. All of Man-at-Arms armor pieces are removable. They have the little straps and hasps like the vintage figure. I'm choosing not to even try and take it off because I do worry about wearing it out or possibly tearing it over time. And since I rarely took the armor off my vintage figures, I really don't see the need to take it off my giant figures. I think Baby Skeletor is pretty happy with his new plaything. In the comments below, let me know who you would love to see a jumbo figure made of. This has been an Action Figure Adventures video. Do Baby Skeletor a favor, hit that like and subscribe button.